Dear students, today we'll make a presentation. I'll be there making presentation and Shweta will be assisting me. What we have planned today to tell students how to prepare a good research report, particularly in the area of HR projects. If you see the slide 1, I have developed whole report or segregated report into 7 chapters ranging from introduction, review of literature, sampling data collection and tools of analysis, then result and discussion, summary and conclusion, bibliography, and concluding limitations of study. In terms of the number of pages for each chapters, we'll dwell upon a little later. But as you see, introduction is very important area where you should be a little bit careful. Now, while writing introduction part of your report, obviously you will consult some other reports also, and you may do a little bit copy and paste, maybe from other websites, Google or some other online websites. The idea is, in introduction, you ought to provide the background of the problem for which you are undertaking your research project, and the significance of the problem should be there in your introduction part, objectives of studies, scope of study, and what impact is going to make this study in terms of your contribution for the research. Well, you should also cover in this introduction part a brief description of the organization where you have carried out the survey and your research project. But please remember, these days it has been observed that most of the students copy verbatim from some other published websites or books, and they reproduce their material in the introduction part. Let me show you a slide wherein in Hindu it was published in March 9, 2012. There was one paper in 2008 which somebody has written, and wherein he has verbatim copied 7 lines in the introduction part. Well, the idea is his whole research project was cancelled and it was covered under plagiarism. So plagiarism is becoming a very, very important issue. My request to all of you is you should avoid this plagiarism. I'll talk about a little bit in detail about this plagiarism part later on. Well, how you can avoid this plagiarism? You must ensure that whatever other authors have written, that you give a due credit to that, because you cannot take the ideas of somebody else and then try to portray as if you have written, So you have to be careful in terms of what to copy, and even if it is copied, there are methods how you can reproduce in your report. Please remember, don't serve to paper mills, and this is becoming very, very prevalent these days. Don't use the web to look for easy paper sources. This I have seen most of the time. The moment you want to have some kind of information, the thing most of the students do, they go to google.com, write a word and find out the information and simply copy and paste. So this you should avoid as much as possible. I'm not saying you cannot do research with Google, which we are going to talk a little bit later, how you have to do your research, from where you have to get your material, but don't use the web for easy paper. This is very much important. Many times students say we cannot go and search it because we are too busy. Well, you got to remember, this is not an excuse for plagiarism, that you are busy, and that's another time. Many a time students say we were ignorant about it. I'm sure from today onwards you will never be ignorant about it. What are the sources most common for plagiarism? paper mills, websites, and electronic library resources there. Please remember, whenever you find a copyright notice, please ensure do not copy the material from there itself. This is a kind of a danger sign. It's a caution for you. Even if you have to copy it, there are methods which we'll talk about a little bit later. Now, please remember, there is a very important incident wherein Jason Blair plagiarized sources, and he was fabricated. He had fabricated stories, and remember, in his 20s he was the top journalist of the world, but by now he is a disgraced, unemployed, and not even yet 30 years old. So please remember, plagiarism can kill, and it's like a kill your career. Now when I'm talking about structuring of the report, the second chapter was review of literature. Now what is this review of literature? Basically, in review of literature, you try to do a survey, you try to scan whatever other researchers have already published about what you are doing research. Now, in review of literature, what you do, you try to write abstract of those research reports or books or any other published material which other researchers have already published and done research. You study that, you make a summary of that, and in the abstract form you put in this review chapter in a sequential order. Preferably something done in earlier era you can put in the beginning of the chapter, and the modern or the latest one probably at the end of this particular chapter. And that is why we call it a review of literature. Now, from where you will review the papers, from where you will review the books, from where you will review the magazines and all that. IMT-CDL will have very important databases in the library very shortly, probably within few days, and the two most important databases, any of the researcher, particularly researcher who is into the area of the management field, he tries to get the information for the review of literature, is one through Emerald and another through Ibasco. Now, as you see, Emerald database looks something like the way you are seeing on the screen right now. Like in case of Google, you write something and then probably click of the button tells you what kind of information you have. Very similarly, in Emerald, you write what we call in a quick search some word for which you are going to find out information. Like in our case, I'm giving an example here. I'm trying to find out some information about literacy. So I have written a word information literacy. Now as you see, I will write over there information literacy. As you see in this red color round block over there, and the moment you click the button, you will find out, you have to say whether this database is going to make a search for all subscribed journals or only few of them. So you can limit your result. So in our case, we are going for all allocated resources, and as you see, we will have this kind of a research output generated for Emerald, wherein you can say the information available for the input which you have given in case of journals, in case of books, in case of other magazines and all that. So this is the way you can do carry out a search in this Emerald. You can limit your research, like you see, the more information has come. You can limit your this search by the advanced search method, and wherein you can confine to few words, and then you can have all this information. Similarly, there is another very important database which we called Ibasco. Herein you see on the screen, I am giving some kind of a basic search through Ibasco host tutorial, and it is almost like very similar to Google search. Like in this case, you see over there bar wherein you are going to write, in our case I am writing here global warming, and let me see what happens. The moment I say global warming and then I am just clicking, well, you do a phrase research, a Boolean kind of a thing, wherein it's going to do a search for global warming, and I have given the outputs. Well, it has to be through periodical, to newspaper, to books. I'm going for all, like I did in case of Emerald, and you see whole set of information has come over here, wherein this information about global warming is available. Like we did in previous case, you can also limit or confine your search to few of the journals, like you are seeing in the screen over here. Please remember, we will be uploading the videos for both Ibesco as well as Emerald on our website, and they will be also available. We'll provide you a link for the YouTube also, so you can at ease later on try to go through these videos and either at our website or through YouTube, and try to understand how the search is done through these databases. In addition to that, this you find information through other published material. Please remember, the information you collect yourself through survey, we call it a primary data or a primary information. The information which you collect from already published resources, we usually call it a secondary information. So review of literature is derived as a chapter through all the secondary information, wherein you put your information in an abstract form to apprise, well, what kind of a research has been done at earlier about the particular topic. Next chapter, and equally very important, we call it a sampling, data collection, and tools of analysis. Now, as you know, the sampling is very, very important. You will be taught in your course how the sampling is done. Mostly, it is seen the sample size of number 30 is enough. Well, many a times I will say as a thumb rule, 10% of the population, of the total population is enough. So for example, you got 100 respondents, and for that 10 could be there as enough number. So, but I am telling you minimum has to be 30%. So probably you have to calculate that way. If somebody asks me a question today, if you got 20 numbers in the population, how you could have a 30 in the sample? Well, in that case, take all 20 population numbers as your sample. So that will be enough. Please remember, there are some methods by which you can calculate your sample. Like you are seeing over here, there is a website wherein you can see, download the PDF file, wherein detailed information is given how a sample size can be calculated, and all the formulas are given in this website. The website, if you see over here, is called edis.lfas.ufi.edu/PD006. So this, from where you can find out all methods and formulas to calculate your sample size. Another very important website which is used by most of the researcher to find out about sample, about survey methods, how to calculate, how develop your online questionnaires, etc. I'll suggest you try